Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. And in this video today, I want to talk about alcoholism actually. Not just alcoholism, but also substance abuse, but I wanted to mostly focus on alcoholism. Now I do have some experience with this, not because I was ever an alcoholic. I've never really personally had a substance abuse problem. To be honest, my peak drinking age, this is going to sound terrible, was like 16 or 17. That was probably my peak drinking age, and ever since then it was a slow decline. To be truthful, by the time I discovered nutritional balancing, I was already had slowed down significantly, and it's been slow, just less and less. But to be honest with you guys, I still will have a beer from time to time, and I'll still drink a couple drinks. Most often, I'll drink to be honest, like half a beer, or I'll drink like a beer. But once in a while, every few months, I will still drink a couple drinks and get buzzed. Is this what's best? No. Is it maybe a personal flaw in myself that I like the thrill of it every 5 or 6 months, like on a birthday or something? Possibly. But I just want to be honest with you guys that I do not 100% abstain from alcohol. I still enjoy. I probably drink. I would say like 2 or 3. Right now, I'm actually drinking 2 or 3 beers a week. I think maybe because I'm craving it more, because right now I'm currently in fast oxidation. But typically, and it's summer, I think it's the fast oxidation combined that I've been working outside sometimes in the summer. But usually I'm drinking like 1 beer or 2 beers a week, typically. So I'll have like a beer a week in most cases. But to be honest with you guys, lately, the last month, it's been significantly more. I think partially because I'm in fast oxidation and I get worked up working in the heat, and I'm sweating, and I just use it sort of like to relax after work maybe. And to be honest, even when I do drink it after work nowadays, I don't usually finish my beer. I usually drink like a half or 3/4, because like halfway through I start to not like it. I just don't want it anymore. It's just that first initial kind of cool and that like initial kind of buzz effect. But my body's also pretty sensitive, being on the program for a long time and being in touch with my own health. And so even though I do drink it, I honestly, when I'm drinking by myself especially, like after work, I don't usually finish even 1 beer. But typically, like I said, on average, I'll be having like a beer a week. Okay, just to give you guys some background on where I was and where I'm at currently in regards to alcohol. Now let's talk about alcoholism in general. It's very prevalent in our society. Sometimes people get confused. I think people think alcohol is healthier for them than it actually is. Just because I think a lot of misleading literature gets put out there, probably funded by alcohol companies, where they say like a beer or 2 a night can actually be good for you. I mean, it's better for you than doing other things, but I think it's, for the most part, basically a misnomer that alcohol is good for you in any form, in any amount, right? So even though, like I talked to you guys just now, about the fact that I'm drinking it once in a while, I'm not mistaken in thinking that it's good for me, right? There's no sort of mental, bridge there that I need to leave up. You know what I mean? So it's important to understand that. Out of all the alcohols, I would say that organic, like darker beers, and then organic red wine are the best 2 alcohols, right? So, and then the harder liquors are worse for you than something like vodka is probably like the worst for you, right? Especially if you're drinking like vodka and like a sweet drink. Okay. Now let's get back to some of the reasons why alcoholism. Okay. Now most of the reasons why I come across the public and in my own social group and stuff, people that struggle with this stuff, a lot of times they think it's just a habit, right? And they don't think a lot of the deeper reasons, right? So they think that, I've been drinking alcohol for a while, so I just like it, or it's because I'm around people that are drinking. But there's a lot of hidden reasons why, okay? Now, as far as emotionally, I think people drink in general and do things to harm their bodies because they're running away from themselves. They're running away from life, okay? So if you don't like yourself, if you don't like where you're at, you don't like the way that you've lived your life so far, and you don't like the way your kids treat you, or on and on. A lot of people use alcohol or substance abuse as an escape, right? Because for that moment, you're not you're running away from your subconscious, right? Your things that would be brought up, that need to be dealt with, you're running away from, which is, of course, not healthy, right? You shouldn't run away from your problems. As a man, or a woman, you need to face your problems, and the sooner you face them, the sooner you'll be able to move forward in a happy direction with your life. Okay, and I've talked about this on other videos, but the most problematic issue for people on the program is facing their traumas and their problems. The most difficult problem is not eliminating infections for people. The most difficult part of the program is not retracing their infections, or eliminating their metals, or even eating a lot of vegetables. For most people, they get used to it. The most problematic part for most people in the program is facing their traumas, facing their ego, facing the fact that life isn't what they thought it was, facing the fact that they've been running away from their life, they've been running away from themselves for 10 years, facing the fact that it's their reason why that their kids hate them. It's that they're still realizing the fact that they're still angry at their mother or father, realizing that the fact that they've been immature, children this whole time, and they need to grow up. Those things are by far the most difficult part of the program, in my experience, for people. It's not detoxing, it's not doing the program, it's not going to bed early or any of these things. It's facing your own issues and your own traumas and getting over them. You know what I mean? And so most people are using substance abuse as a way to run away from their problems. But it's important to realize it's not just that. It's also metabolic, okay? Many people crave alcohol, okay? And so they trick themselves into thinking it's psychological, but they don't realize that the mind is the body, and a lot of these times the body is craving alcohol, okay? This is true for fast oxidizers in my experience a lot of the time, because the fast oxidizers, they don't realize that they're fast oxidizers, and what they need is fats. And alcohol, people don't realize, is basically like a sugar, right? It's a high energy compound that acts as a stimulant to the body. And a fast oxidizer who's craving a source of energy for their over-revved body, they crave what's called aldehydes. And aldehydes are a high energy compound that fast oxidizers crave. Okay, aldehydes is mostly found in alcohol and fats. That's basically where you find it, as far as things that you consume. And so many fast oxidizers are not eating near enough fats. Okay, and so what they turn to? They turn to alcohol, and it's a way to satiate their aldehyde cravings. Okay, so there's metabolic reasons why people crave alcohol. It's not just psychological, running away from your problems. And also, it's important because it's usually a combination of the two, right? It's never just I'm running away from my problems, or it's just metabolic. It's almost always a combination of the two, and generally one's more prevalent than the other. But a lot of times, in our society, almost every time, if you go to AA or something, or you talk to a therapist about your problems, you're only going to focus on that. So if you go to a therapist to talk about your alcohol problem, you're only going to talk about your psychological problems. You're only going to talk about your mom and your dad and your friend group and why you feel pressured to drink alcohol. I'm not saying that that's bad, but oftentimes that doesn't get to one of the root issues, okay? And you'll notice this is an issue because if you go to AA meetings, a lot of times they have donuts and they have sugars and carbs. And that doesn't help these people that are craving alcohol. In fact, most alcoholics have some form of hypoglycemia, okay? And so whether they're fast oxidizers or slow oxidizers. And alcohol is basically a form of sugar. So we went over the aldehydes and how that can be an example of craving alcohols for a fast oxidizer. But you can also crave it as a stimulant, as basically a sugar. Alcohol, like I just talked about, is in a lot of ways just a simple sugar, okay? And people use it as a stimulant, and they also use it to balance their blood sugar, okay? So instead of eating more fat or more protein or even whole grains or something to balance their blood sugar, they turn to alcohol, okay? And a lot of the AA groups don't help this at all by giving people donuts and stuff like that actually further destabilize their blood sugar and don't really help their alcohol cravings. When in reality, if they were to be having animal protein, like even red meat or something like that, it would really help their alcohol cravings a lot more than eating these simple carbohydrates, the worst being sugars, okay? And so slow oxidizers can crave alcohol for that reason as well, okay? But slow oxidizers tend to crave it more as a stimulant, right, due to low blood sugar. And then fast oxidizers tend to crave alcohol more for its energy content, right, in replace of fats, okay? So there's a little bit different answers depending on your body type, but both people can crave alcohol for sure, okay? So it's important to realize that. And alcohol, you know, depletes nutrients, okay? So many people also are depleted of nutrients in our society. Basically everyone is. And people overlook the fact that eating better and renourishing the body can really, really help these cravings, right? Because if your body is in a healthy state and has what it needs and its blood sugar is stabilized and it's getting enough animal protein, it's getting enough fat, it naturally won't crave alcohols nearly as much, right? Because you know, you already feel good, right? A lot of people use alcohol to sort of feel good or satiate themselves in certain ways. And if you already are satiated and you're getting enough food and you feel good and life's good, there's not as much of a reason for you to drink alcohol, right? You don't need it to make life fun. You know, feeling good all the time is a lot more fun. You know what I mean? If you feel good all the time, you know, life is a lot more enjoyable, okay? So this is where a nutritional balancing program can really help you guys. It can help a fast oxidizer know they're in fast oxidation and be eating a lot more fat so they don't crave the alcohol. It can help a slow oxidizer get more animal protein and help control their blood sugar levels so they're not craving the alcohol as much. The pushing down exercise really helps you overcome your traumas and realize and help you face yourself in your life and realize why running away from your problems by using alcohol and these other substances. And really, of course, you guys, I recommend the whole nutritional balancing program because nothing else will re-nourish the body and make you face your traumas and everything. It really helps get rid of the root reasons why you're craving alcohol and why you're craving these other substances. Okay, and this is true not just with alcohol, right? This is true for you know, other harder drugs, including I made a video on smoking cigarettes and how people smoke cigarettes oftentimes to relax and to breathe deeply. Most people can't breathe deeply. And so when you're smoking cigarettes, a lot of times it's like a form of meditation, right? And it's the only time of the day that people breathe deeply into their diaphragm, right? Is to take a... And so oftentimes, if people just do that instead of smoking the cigarette, you should pretend you're smoking a cigarette, but you're taking deep breaths. You just go... That's what people are really craving. It's not even so much the nicotine as they think it is, okay? So, in summary, be aware of some of the hidden reasons why people crave what they do. It's not just psychological, a lot of it is metabolic. It's usually a combination of the two. And eating correctly and make sure you're rested and doing a full nutritional balancing program to re-nourish the body will help, in my experience, more than anything because you're solving the root cause. Anyways, I hope that helps you guys out. Comment below if you have any questions about this or anything like that, or if you're suffering from one of these problems, want to contact me. My email's below. I hope you guys have a good rest of the day, and I'll talk to you guys later, right? All right, bye.